Welcome our lovely listeners to Materials Development for Language Learning.
Oh, it's great to be here.
Yeah?
This is a topic that is
Yeah.
really near and dear to my heart, and I'm so excited
Yeah.
to dive in with you.
Me too. Now you might be thinking, materials development sounds a bit dry, doesn't it? But trust me, this is way more fascinating than you might expect. We're going to take you behind the scenes of how language learning materials are created and why that matters for you, even if you're not a teacher.
Absolutely. Think about it. Every time you've learned a new language, you've interacted with some kind of learning material.
Oh, for sure.
A textbook, an app, a website.
Yeah.
This deep dive explores the hidden forces that shape those materials and how they impact your learning experience.
We're going to be dissecting the syllabus for a course offered at the Ho Chi Minh City University of Technology and Education, specifically in their TESOL program that's teaching English to speakers of other languages. And believe me, this syllabus is packed with juicy details.
What's fascinating is that this course goes way beyond just making worksheets.
Right.
It dives into the psychology of learning instructional design and even the use of AI in education. It's like a masterclass on how to effectively teach anything.
Okay, so the course itself is called Materials Development, which is pretty straightforward. It's a 3-credit course, and get this, you need to take English argumentative writing before you can even enroll.
That makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Before you can create compelling learning materials,
Yeah.
you need a strong foundation in the language itself. This isn't just about grammar, it's about being able to present information in a logical and persuasive way, which is essential for any good teacher.
The course description really highlights how crucial teaching materials are to language instruction.
Yeah.
It's easy to dismiss them as just a textbook, but they really do shape the entire learning process.
Yeah.
Ever had a textbook that just made you want to fall asleep? This course is all about preventing that.
The goal here is to empower future educators with the ability to analyze, evaluate, and adapt teaching materials for different learning environments. You know, what works for a classroom of university students in Vietnam might not be effective for a group of business professionals learning English online.
Yeah, get this. Students will be drawing on their own experiences from their teaching internships to apply what they're learning in real time. Talk about learning by doing.
That's such a valuable aspect.
Yeah.
It bridges the gap between theory and practice, allowing students to test out these concepts in real-world classrooms and see what actually works.
Okay, let's unpack the 4 main learning outcomes, or CLOs as they're called in syllabus. These are the skills that students are expected to master by the end of the course.
The first one is all about understanding the basic terminology and concepts of materials development, along with how those concepts connect to different teaching methods. It's laying the groundwork for everything else that follows.
The second CLO is super interesting. It's about identifying and classifying the different roles that materials play in specific learning contexts. It's like detective work for language education.
Exactly. You have to consider things like the learner's ages, cultural backgrounds, learning goals, and even the resources available. It's about tailoring the materials to fit the specific needs of each learning situation.
The third learning outcome focuses on evaluating existing teaching materials used in Vietnam. Not only do students learn how to spot the flaws, but they also propose ways to adapt those materials to make them more effective.
This is where things get really practical. It's not just about theoretical knowledge. It's about being able to look at a textbook and say, okay, this is good, but here's how we can make it even better.
And finally, the fourth CLO is where students get to put all their knowledge into action and actually design and develop their own teaching materials.
This is where the magic happens.
Yeah.
They take everything they've learned about language acquisition, instructional design, and cultural sensitivity and use it to create innovative and engaging learning experiences. Imagine designing a game that teaches grammar or an app that uses AI to personalize vocabulary practice. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about.
Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of the weekly content, I want to pause and ask you, the listener, a question. What's the most frustrating learning material you've ever encountered, and why did it make you want to pull your hair out?
And on a more positive note, if you could design your dream language learning tool, what would it be like? What features would it have? How would it be different from anything that's out there right now?
Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your ideas and experiences.
Okay, so let's talk about how this course actually evaluates your grasp of materials development. Because, it's one thing to understand the theory, but how do you prove you can, put it into practice?
Right. We need to see if you can walk the walk, not just talk the talk. Exactly. So the syllabus outlines a multifaceted approach to assessment. It's not just about memorizing facts.
Right.
It's about demonstrating that you can apply your knowledge
Right.
in real-world scenarios.
Absolutely.
So they use a variety of methods
Yeah.
to gauge your understanding, starting with quizzes. There are 2 quizzes throughout this semester, each worth 5% of your final grade.
Okay.
The first one pops up in week 4 and covers all those fundamental terms and concepts
Right.
we talked about earlier. Then in week 6, the second quiz rolls around, focusing specifically on the different roles that materials play
Okay.
in various learning contexts. Remember that detective work we mentioned?
Mm-hmm.
This is where you put those sleuthing skills to the test.
I love that.
And here's a little bonus to help ease the pressure. Both quizzes are online
Oh,
and
nice.
can be attempted multiple times. So if you don't nail it on the first try,
Yeah,
you have another shot at proving you've mastered the material.
that's great.
Now buckle up, because things get even more interesting with a material evaluation and adaptation assignment. This one's a 2-parter and makes up a significant chunk of your grade, 40% to be exact.
Wow. Okay.
For the first part, you'll need to put on your critical thinking caps and channel your inner editor. You'll be tasked with writing an essay where you identify problematic sections in a commonly used textbook. Think about those times you've used a textbook and thought, wait, this just doesn't make sense, or this is totally outdated.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You'll analyze those issues in depth and then propose adaptations to make the material more suitable
Okay.
for a specific learning environment. It's your chance to show you can not only spot the problems, but also come up with creative solutions.
Cool.
And to add another layer of learning, this assignment incorporates peer review.
Oh, that's great.
You'll get to read your classmates' essays,
Uh-huh.
provide feedback, and see how others approach the same challenges. It's a great way to learn from each other and refine your analytical skills.
For sure.
Now, for the second part of this assignment, you'll team up with a partner and create a project presentation. It's time to put all those theoretical concepts into action and design a real-life learning activity or sequence of activities, adapting materials from a textbook to fit a specific context. Imagine taking a boring grammar lesson and transforming it into an interactive game.
That sounds fun.
But it's not all about creativity. You need to demonstrate a deep understanding of the learning context. Outline clear objectives for your activity and explain how your adaptive materials would actually be used in a classroom setting.
Right. It's going to be practical.
Of course, you also need to consider things like design principles, learner characteristics, and even the resources available at the institution. It's like you're pitching a brand new learning experience to a panel of educators.
Oh, wow.
And let's not forget about the final exam, the grand finale of the course. It's a 60-minute closed book written exam
Okay.
that covers all the learning outcomes we discussed earlier.
Uh-huh.
So you want to make sure you have a solid understanding of the entire course content.
Makes sense.
This exam isn't about rote memorization. It's about proving you can analyze, evaluate, and propose solutions
Right.
for using and adapting teaching materials.
Wow.
In diverse contexts, it's the ultimate test to see if you're ready to go out there and create effective learning experiences.
Cool.
Now, to help you navigate this journey, the syllabus recommends 2 main textbooks: Materials and Methods in ELT, a teacher's guide,
Okay.
and Developing Materials for Language Teaching. These are like your trusty companions, packed with insights and practical guidance from leading experts in the field.
Oh, that's great.
And if you're feeling extra studious, the syllabus also provides a list of additional references
Okay.
for further exploration. It's like a treasure trove of knowledge just waiting to be discovered.
I like that.
And a quick reminder, academic integrity is paramount in this course.
Of course.
All work must be original, and any instance of plagiarism or cheating will be taken very seriously.
Right.
So make sure you're giving credit where credit is due and presenting your own unique ideas.
Good advice.
Last but not least, keep in mind that the syllabus itself is a living document and is subject to updates based on teaching objectives. It's always a good idea to check the course platform regularly to make sure you have the most up-to-date information.
Right. So don't just print it out and never look at it again.
Exactly. Okay, so we've talked about the big picture, goals and how you'll be assessed, but
Right.
let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What will you actually be doing week by week in this course? Get ready for a wild ride.
Week 1 is all about setting the stage. You'll get to know your classmates, the instructor, and the overall vibe of the course. Think of it as the orientation, where you get your bearings before the real learning begins.
Right.
Weeks 2 and 3 dive headfirst into the core framework of materials development and teaching methodologies.
Okay.
This is where you start to see how the what of teaching the materials intertwines with the how, the methods you use to deliver them.
I see.
You'll be exploring different types of materials. Everything from traditional textbooks to, cutting-edge online resources.
Right.
And you'll also be learning about various teaching approaches like lectures, group activities, project-based learning, and more.
So many options.
Yeah, it's about finding the right tools for the job and understanding how they all fit together.
Then in weeks 4 and 5, things get really exciting as you delve into the latest trends and research in the field. This is where you'll be exposed to innovative techniques, like incorporating authentic materials, leveraging technology to enhance learning, and even personalizing the learning experience for individual students.
Right, because it's important to stay on top of what's happening in the world of education because new ideas and approaches
For sure.
are constantly emerging.
Yeah.
This course ensures you're not stuck in the past, but are equipped with the most up-to-date knowledge and strategies.
Weeks 6 and 7 tackle a crucial skill for any educator: selecting the right materials. Think about it. There are mountains of textbooks, apps, websites, and other resources out there. How do you choose what's best for your students and your teaching context?
Right, you'll learn how to evaluate materials based on specific criteria, like relevance to your learning objectives, authenticity, the content, cultural appropriateness, and more. It's about developing a discerning eye and being able to sift through the noise to find the gems.
Then, in weeks 8 and 9, you'll take those evaluation skills to the next level. It's time to put on your critical thinking hats and dissect existing materials, identifying their strengths, weaknesses, and any potential biases. You'll be like educational detectives, uncovering the hidden layers within textbooks and other resources.
But it's not just about pointing out the flaws. You'll also be challenged to propose practical adaptations to improve those materials,
Okay.
making them more effective, engaging, and relevant for your learners.
Weeks 10 and 11 get really hands-on as you focus on the practical skill of adapting materials to fit specific contexts. This is where you take those theoretical principles and turn them into actionable strategies.
Right, so you might need to modify a textbook to make it more culturally sensitive or adjust an online activity to better suit the learning styles of your students. It's about taking existing resources and tweaking them to maximize their effectiveness.
Weeks 12 and 13 are the culmination of everything you've learned so far. It's time to put your creative hats on and design your own materials from scratch. Whether it's a lesson plan, a game, an interactive activity, or even a whole new curriculum unit, this is your chance to let your imagination run wild.
Yeah, you'll learn how to apply the principles of material design, incorporating elements of visual appeal, interactivity, and learner engagement. Imagine creating a learning experience that's so captivating your students forget they're even studying.
And finally, weeks 14 and 15 take you to the cutting edge of materials development by exploring the mind-blowing world of AI in education.
This is where it gets really interesting. You'll learn about the tools and techniques that allow you to personalize learning experiences, create adaptive assessments that adjust to each student's level, and even generate custom learning pathways based on individual needs and strengths. It's like having a virtual teaching assistant that can cater to every student.
So as you can see, this course is a jam-packed journey that will equip you with all the skills and knowledge you need to become a master of materials development for language learning. It's a blend of theory and practice, creativity and critical thinking, all designed to empower you to create learning experiences that are both effective and inspiring.
Now, before we wrap up this deep dive,
Yes.
we have two final questions for you to ponder. Think about your own experiences as a language learner. What aspects of learning materials have you found particularly helpful or frustrating? What could have been done differently to make those materials more engaging or impactful for you?
And if you could give one piece of advice to aspiring materials developers, what would it be? What's the golden rule that every educator should keep in mind when creating learning experiences for others?
Share your insights in the comments below, and let's keep this conversation going. We've had a fantastic time exploring this fascinating topic with you, and we hope you've come away with a newfound appreciation for the art and science of creating effective learning materials.
Until next time, happy learning and happy creating.